Voices against corruption. Let the people speak.
Hello and welcome to Primorg's public feedback series on corruption, called Voices Against Corruption. And we ask, how much do you think corruption has been responsible for Nigerians' inability to make progress despite huge investments in the power sector?
Corruption in Nigeria has become like a norm, unfortunately so. So one can say, yes, corruption is majorly responsible for the inefficiency in the power sector. So yes, I can categorically say that. Because some of the money you hear that has been voted for that project, for the prosecution of the project, in most cases, such monies are not there. Such money are not used for the purpose it's meant for. You know, yes, you cannot completely eliminate corruption in human existence, but you can substantially reduce it.
It's obvious that corruption plays a very important role, like very powerful role in our inability to get stable power supply, actually. I mean, we keep hearing that millions of nairas, millions of dollars are being invested into power, but it's obvious that we don't get to see the impact of this, and you can always trace it. I mean, if there were no corruption in the flow of distribution, you find out that when monies are allocated for certain things, they are meant to be done, but at the end of the day, because of the corrupt practices, you find out that proper monies are not allocated properly. So, I mean, when that is the case, you find out that there will always be instability, and I think that describes where we are as a country.
It boils down to the right leadership, okay? I'm not pointing fingers, but you and I know the truth. The right leadership. Once it's in place, every other thing follows. Every other thing falls in place. So, okay, we are supposed to have this, right? For example, we are supposed to have power supply. Why are we not having it? Who is in charge of that sector? People need to begin to own up. And that's why in other parts of the climb, you see people resigning. They say, okay, I feel I've not been able to do well in this sector. I want to resign. And they resign honorably. And people get to respect them. So we need to see that happening. And for those who refuse to resign, you know, let's see that the law actually penalizes them.
Clearly, it's human factor, which can be attributed to the greed, what is in need for them, not necessarily getting what it takes to deliver power to Nigeria done, because of the great corruption and what they can make out of the process of getting power delivered to the country.
For me, I think the government is not getting it right by not choosing the right people or following up the people that are actually meant for the construction or meant for the development of power sector. Because if not, every year so much has been sunk into the power sector, but upon that, nothing. I think there is a mistake somewhere.
Our leaders have a lot to do in that area, because when you see the power sector, it's supposed to be for the benefits of the people, but we are not seeing that impact in our electricity supply in Nigeria. And number one problem is bad leadership.
Yeah, corruption is one of the factors now. Because if we are sincere with ourselves, I don't think we will have all these challenges. Unlike the power sector now, people working there, they are not being sincere.
It's very disheartening to note that power, which is a very old technology, has been a problem to Nigeria at this point in time in our national life. That's to tell you that there are some people who have interest in making sure that we are jinxed in this aspect by stealing the money which is meant to be invested in this sector.
It's not only corruption that is the challenge of Nigeria with respect to power. There are other problems that influence or that could cause that problem for us. But then corruption, yes, would carry a big chunk of the percentage. But then you still have to factor in other things like technical know-how to bring about that kind of, because, okay, technical know-how, number one. Then infrastructure, what is on ground, can it carry the population or the rate at which population is growing? Can it carry the number of industries that need the power?
Towards the power sector, the corruption is deepening. So the people that they hand over the NEPA, affairs to, they are not doing it well. So that is the basic. They are not doing it well. Maybe the better way of doing it is that to retrieve that power sector from them and let the government, handle it.
Primox's public feedback on corruption in Nigeria is produced with support from MacArthur Foundation.